What's going on, everybody? It's JB from Faith and Forex, about to give you another masterclass in conquering the financial markets and another insight into the life of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ of Nazareth. Hope you guys have been having an amazing start to your week. And the question of today, should you even be using trend lines? And if you are going to use trend lines, how should you actually use them? Should we be using diagonal support and resistance or horizontal support and resistance? So basically, if you guys have been questioning about trend lines, maybe your trend lines haven't been working, maybe you're questioning if you actually should use them, I'm basically going to give you every single bit of information you need to figure out if this is for you. So without further ado, let's kick it off. Right, it's probably best if I put myself down here at the bottom left corner. But for those of you that don't really know what trend lines are, if you guys have been looking into trading and you're on this video, it's very unlikely that you don't know what a trend line is. It's basically a line that people are going to use to be able to identify a trend. And what the typical kind of rule is that people will say something like this. For example, they'll say you want to go by here and you want to get as many touches as you can. Okay, and then what people will do is they will wait for price to come down by here, and then they will take their buy, and then boom. But if you guys have been following this kind of method, what you guys probably find is that price is getting down to here, you'll be buying, and then it's going to be smashing down. So I am just going to absolutely flat out tell you that if you are using your trend line in this particular fashion, you are absolutely doing it the wrong way. I am going to say this with absolute chest. Drawing trend lines like this and using it as support and resistance just does not work. I don't know. I've never found anybody that's been able to actually use it with success. I'm telling you now, guys, even if people want to do something like this, I just don't believe that we can actually identify market direction just by drawing some lines like this. You know, this is all you're going to use, and price is going to come down by here, and all you're doing is going to just buy because price has gotten to a line that you've drawn. I'm sorry to say, you've got a little bit more studying to do. Like, you've got a little bit more studying to do into how markets work, in my opinion, than if you're going to just draw a line like this. Now, does this mean that trend lines can't be used? Absolutely not. But the two things that I'm going to basically be speaking about, okay, I guess, is support and resistance, okay? Because many people might have come to this video because they might be thinking they're going to use their trend line as a form of support and resistance. And basically, guys, if you don't know what support and resistance is, it's very, very simple. It's like this. Resistance is an area of the market where price, okay, is basically, it's like it's hit a ceiling, okay? It's basically a level in which when price touches this level, if price wants to do something like this and tap in by there, it's expected to drop. Okay, you just assume the inverse for support. Okay, think of this as like your floor, right? So the idea is when price gets to this level, you know, it's going to bounce. Okay, so typically when people draw these trend lines in such a way, what they're basically doing is that they are drawing a diagonal support level. And I guess when they do it at the top, they're also drawing a diagonal resistance level. In my opinion, guys, this just doesn't work. Like, I don't know how to say it more simply than that. It just doesn't work. Like, yes, there probably is a way you could use it. There probably is a place out there, a channel out there that teaches it much better than I. But I'm going to tell you this now. In my 5 years of, in my 5 years of trading, I have simply just drawn horizontal support and resistance, and it's worked perfectly. And I think this is the most accurate way to do it. And I'll speak about that in a minute. Okay. But the second thing that I want to speak about outside of support and resistance is, should we say, trends / direction. Okay, so I guess this is what we can basically speak about. Okay, so when it comes to trend lines, does it mean that we can just completely write it off? No, because I do think they have a place in the market, but I think you have to basically first, right, get this support and resistance in your mind all figured out. Okay, once you basically have it in your brain that it's going to be a, it's going to be a horizontal game, then you can kind of move forward and say, okay, that's one part of my trading that I'm going to focus on. I'm going to figure out how to use horizontal support and resistance. And to be fair, guys, I'll go and link a video in the description because I literally have a video that's based on support and resistance. You can go and watch that. And it explains it really, really well, how you guys should be using it. And then what we're also going to be looking at, which right now is we're going to look at, trends and direction. Okay, so in terms of identifying your trends, to be fair, I might link another video in the description to that. what you basically want to look for is, let's just break it down for you very, very simply. If you see price is making higher highs and higher lows, guess what? You're in an uptrend. If you see price is making lower lows and lower highs, guess what? You're in a downtrend. Now, identifying when this has shifted, okay, from a downtrend to an uptrend, or an uptrend to a downtrend, I like to basically use this method, right? I'll link a video in the description as well, but that's not what we're going to speak about today. We're speaking about trend lines. Now, there is a place that you can use trend lines, right? When it comes to identifying when markets have flipped, this, in my opinion, isn't really going to be, it's not really going to be used in a very, very accurate way, right? So I guess we're leaving a lot of things, I guess we're leaving the opportunity, I don't know what I'm trying to say. I guess we're basically leaving the room for the use of trend lines. We're making it kind of thin, aren't we? There's not really a lot of things we can do with a trend line. Well, I hardly ever use them, but if you're a beginner trader, the one thing that you can kind of do if you really want to is just draw it out like this. If you are struggling to find, support and resistance, and you're struggling to find the overall direction of a market, you can kind of very, very briefly just look at the market like this. Like, let's just delete everything. If you can basically zoom out and just kind of see where price is, at this point, and then be able to kind of just draw it like this, you can kind of see that price is making higher highs and higher lows. Does that make sense? Let's do the exact same thing with gold, right? We're going to ignore everything else. We're going to just look at where price is currently, okay? And we're going to draw this trend line, something like this, We can see the price is trending upwards. Can you see that? You can keep it very, very simple. Oh, hang on a minute. Let me go to a different thing. We do the exact same thing with euro, but to be fair, let's just go back to a random point in time. Let's go by here, okay? You ignore everything to the left, and you just do this, right? Draw that, okay? Oh, this replay thing. What is this? That's really annoying, bro. Anyways, hope you guys can see it well. But yeah, you basically see that price has been trending. Does that make sense? That's a way you could use a trend line, right? And if you really want to, right? If you really want to, I guess I wouldn't really recommend this. Bro, that's actually like terrible. I hate using that. Let's just delete that. What you can do is something like this, okay? Hang on. What I used to do, which I really wouldn't recommend doing this for finding market direction. Let's say you started out looking by here, okay? And you can see price like this. You draw this trend line like so. When you can see this kind of shift, then you can start to say to yourself, okay, then we can at least start to look for sells. Maybe price has broken this trend line and I can start to look for sells. But to do it in such a way where you're so rigid, and as soon as you see that break, you automatically say, yep, that's it, trend has shifted, you are going to find yourself in a world of pain. The most accurate way, guys, for you to actually identify when trends have shifted, in my opinion, is to use this method, what I call the trend defining point method, which is so simple, guys. In an uptrend, when price makes a new higher high like so, okay, it makes a new higher high, breaks that higher high, the higher low that caused that higher high, so something like this, right? By here, you can see that when this level gets broken, then the trend has changed. Even if you're seeing all this hoo-ha by here, you just see this one little break. At this point, it's much more likely that the price is going to basically continue that direction. And if you get an oopsie daisy, a bit of manipulation, if price breaks above this level again, then guess what? You just got a bit of manipulation and price has gone back to a downtrend. Now, if you get the really unlucky case, right, the price does this, then guess what? It's back to a downtrend again. But that happens very, very, instances where that happens are few and far between. Simply, when you have situations like this, you will basically, see price just continue in this trend, and you just follow that, right? When price makes a new lower low, guess what? There's your trend defining point. And so long as price trades below that, banging, guess what? You got a new trend defining point right by here. So when price breaks above that, amazing. Your trend defining point is now switched by there, expecting price to take a buy, bish bash bosh. How simple is that? Okay, so using your trend lines in such a way where you want to basically just see, okay, well, where is price currently? Okay, can I see the price is an uptrend? Maybe you can use it to sort of, you can tie in do a little bit more thinking, you can say, okay, I got this confluence, I got that confluence, and the trend, and price has broken this trend line. Then you can start to put things together. But the two things you're going to be focusing on is support and resistance. Okay. You're going to be using horizontal. Okay. And then market direction, I just told you, TDP. Okay. So your trend lines are simply going to be like a very rough guide. I really wouldn't recommend you using diagonal support and resistance. Don't believe what people are saying. If you get 3 touches, oh, boom, you got 1, 2, 3 touches, bang, prices. I don't know, bro. Like, I just think that's a load of nonsense. And you guys watching, if you are finding that this is something that you've seen in the past and it's not working out for you, ditch it. Just ditch it. Just stick to your horizontal support and resistance. Stick to this, stick to that. You want to basically make your trading, you want to see the chart. Basically, guys, you want to see it like this, even though in the middle is going to be a little bit of a hoo-ha. Like, what you're actually going to find is something like this. You are going to be seeing price being like extremely messy, okay, doing like a hoo-ha like this. But what you want to see, right, you want to basically convert this, okay, with your eyes. You want to basically see this instead. Okay, maybe I'll do a video on that. But that basically concludes trend lines. I would really advise you guys to just ditch it if you're using it as a way of support and resistance and using it as a way as market direction. I'm going to link a video in the description specifically for support and resistance and to identify when trends have shifted. Do you know what? I think that's probably the shortest video on the channel. That's the shortest YouTube video I've ever done. But it's really simple, really concise. And I really want you guys to just ditch any notions about diagonal support and resistance, diagonal trend lines. We can use trend lines to get a little bit of idea, a little bit of direction, but really to identify market direction, all you need is a TDP method. And in order to identify support and resistance, like accurate levels where price is going to move, just use horizontal support and resistance. And I just want to say, glory to Jesus, right? If you guys haven't put your faith in the Lord, all you need to do to be given that gift of everlasting life, think about that for a second. Immortality. All you need to do is put your faith in Jesus. And if you're struggling to put your faith in Jesus, go and study all the evidence. We've got evidence after evidence after evidence after evidence for his resurrection, for his life, for what he preached. He's the most reliable thing in this universe. And you guys would be foolish not to put your faith in him. But don't do it because I'm telling you to. Go and study it yourself. Have that genuine relationship with him and just put your faith in him. You guys can get the gift of everlasting life and your things in your life will fix. My life, my trading has all been fixed because of Jesus Christ. But there you go. That's Trendlines for you. Please drop me a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Tell me what you want to see next. Remember, guys, every single Monday is trading, like technical analysis, education, also some psychology in there. Go and check out the posts section if you want to see the schedule. Maybe I'll go and put that in the banner. But yeah, Wednesdays is live streaming, live trading 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. GMT. But yeah, God bless you guys. Have an amazing day. Take care. Bye-bye for now.